Although we've come to the end of the road. Just kidding. Hey y'all, so in today's video, we are going to be making some broccoli sprouts. I am in need of some sprouts. I haven't made sprouts in a while, so I figured to make a video on it because sprouts are super beginner friendly. I am new to gardening. And yeah, if you're just starting out, I think growing sprouts will be one of the best ways to start, especially if you are short on space, if you're short on time or confidence. And the thing with sprouts is most of them are ready to eat in 3 to 7 days. You can grow them right in your kitchen counter in a mason jar or tray. I do have a tray as well, but we are going to be using the mason jar. And it's very low maintenance. You just need to rinse it once or twice a day. And that's it. At the end of day 5, you will have a mason jar full of good, nutrient dense, high in antioxidants, super healthy. It's anti-cancer, it's high in antioxidants. And I believe this is also a great way to learn how seeds germinate and grow. So yeah, so I'm gonna take you all along as I grow my sprouts. Now, the things that you're gonna need to make the sprouts, again, you can use a tray or you can use a mason jar. We are going to be using the mason jar method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cleaning my seeds first. I always like to clean my seeds before I start the sprouting process. And the way that I clean my seeds is I just soak it in some apple cider vinegar water, soak it for about 15 minutes, and yeah, rinse it out. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, I had to go and rinse out my jar. I usually add just 2 tablespoons of the seeds because at the end of day 5, it's going to be filled to the brim. So you don't need that much seeds. So just add about 2 tablespoons of that. And then I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar. And you can use any kind of vinegar. I have white vinegar on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon of that. You probably don't need that much, y'all, but I like to be extra. And then I'm going to fill it about halfway with water and let it sit there for 15 minutes. All right, y'all, so the 15 minutes is up. We're going to go ahead and rinse this out. I'm going to put my lid on, rinse it out. I'm going to fill it back up with water and leave it in the fridge for 24 hours or till the morning, the next day. And then, yes, I'll meet you guys back in the morning. All right, good morning, y'all. It is the next day. This jar has been in the fridge since last night. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna drain the water through this sprouting lid. I'm gonna rinse the seeds with fresh water. Then I'm going to swirl it gently and strain it again. Then I'm going to tip the jar upside down at an angle. You can do that in a bowl or you can do that in a rack. I have this sprouting rack over here, so that is what I'm going to use. So you want to flip it upside down at an angle to let the water continue to drain completely and to get some airflow. And then we're going to be keeping the jar in a dark spot for the first couple of days. So you can either put it in a pantry or you can cover up the jar itself. I have this cover, so I'll just be covering it. So yeah, so put it in a dark spot for a couple of days, but you want to rinse it twice a day for 5 days. So let's go ahead and rinse it out. Now this water, I'm going to save it because I'm going to use it in my garden. So the jar has been rinsed out. And what I'm going to do is just kind of shake it around in the jar so it can spread out, right? And then we're gonna put it on a rack upside down so that it continues to drain. And then I'm gonna cover it so it can be in the dark. Let's kind of spread it around some more. Okay. We have a lot of the seeds on the lid, so just try to push that down. There you go. All right. Okay, so you see how it's all spread out throughout the jar. So that's what you want, okay? And then just put it at an angle. Well, I guess you should, if you have a cover, put that on first. Be careful not to drop the jar. Okay, so put it in a dark spot. And then tonight, we're gonna repeat the steps. Just rinse it out with water. And we're doing that to keep the seeds moist, okay? Good morning, y'all. It's the morning of day 3, and y'all already know what time it is. We're gonna go ahead and rinse this out. I'm going to be removing this and leaving the jar by the window so it can receive some of that natural light. That way we can start seeing some green in there and the sprouts can grow even more. Let's see what we're looking like in here first, and then we'll rinse it out. All right, this is what we're looking like. Not a lot. I thought I was expecting for it to be a little bit more fuller, but once we put it by the window, it is going to grow even faster, and then you're going to start seeing some green. So yeah, I can't wait for that. Let's go ahead and rinse it out. Okay, this is what we're looking like. We're gonna move it by the window now so it can receive that natural light. Okay, y'all, so I have it by the window and we'll check back on it tonight. All right, so we are at the end of day 3, and you see what I told you, y'all? We are starting to have some color because they were getting that natural light, and as you can see, the jar is getting full. So we're gonna go ahead and do what we've been doing, which is rinsing it and setting it back on the rack. So let's go ahead and do that now. I just like to fill it at the top. All right, y'all. So we are on the evening of day 4. Look at that. A jar that's almost all the way full. There's hardly any room left for more sprouts, but we still have one more day. So we're going to go ahead and give this a good rinse, and I will see you back all tomorrow morning. Although we've come to the end of the road. Just kidding. All right, y'all, we've made it to the end. We are on the morning of day 5, and look at this. Look at what took place overnight. There is not a single room left for the sprouts to grow in. So we're going to call it an end right here. I could technically rinse it out, put it by the window, and then call it an end later on tonight. But, I think we're going to stop here because there is no more room. So I'm going to rinse this out. I'm going to transfer it to a bowl so you guys can see just how much goodness I was able to get from 2 tablespoons of broccoli sprout seeds. So let's go ahead and rinse this out right now. Now, when you store this, make sure you store it in a fridge, of course, and in a container that has a lid, but make sure the lid is slightly open so that it can get some airflow. You can leave it in a mason jar if you want, and I think that's what I'm gonna, no, you know what, I'm gonna transfer it to a container, a bigger container, because it's too stuffy in here. So, but you can leave it in a mason jar if it's not too full, and then just close it with a lid like this, right? So we can still get that airflow. This is how much I was able to get. This is gonna last me about 5 days. But yeah, there you have it. And that is how you make broccoli sprouts. no soil, hardly any time, and it was super simple. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to check out my previous video, and I will see you all in the next one.